Unilad, OnlyFans star, make it a little bigger, please. How much she made sleeping with 122 college students during spring break. Made a staggering amount. How much did you make?
$250,000.
And this was through your OF?
Yeah, so like the boys that I sleep with, it's free.
It's free for them. You don't charge them. Okay.
Yeah.
How much? 200?
Yeah, 250,000
Okay. All right.
US dollars.
Hang on, you just film it so that other people can see it, essentially? Is that how you were making the money?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Cool. And then you said you slept with 32 18-year-old virgins, and you filmed that too?
Yeah.
I'm curious, like, for the guys in the chat, is it, and maybe the girls can weigh in too, like, is it a W to lose your virginity as a guy to a porn star? Like, is that like a bragging? Do you think it's a bragging thing? Or?
Well, I think, like, personally, when people lose their virginity, it's usually terrible. Like, I gave them a very good experience.
A good sexual, like, experience.
For sure. And not only that, like, it was so relatable. Like, because the reason I started doing that in the first place is, like, when I started watching porn, it wasn't relatable. Like, I was like, when I have sex for the first time, it is not going to be nothing like that. Like, they're professional people that do it all the time. So I was like, there's no better way to make it relatable than literally sleeping with virgins themselves, because everyone performs so differently. Like, some people barely lasted 30 seconds. Some people went for quite a long time.
How do you confirm that they're virgins? You just ask them?
Yeah, like, obviously there's no way of proving it. There's no...
just like Scout's honor.
They're pretty nervous, and I wouldn't say they're very good at knowing what to do and where things go. So. Okay.
Well, yeah, for many of them, it was probably their very first time with a prostitute, right? So that's that is your prescription here, right? Your prescription is, according to you, that men should lose their virginity to prostitutes.
No, I'm not saying they should. They're contacting me. I'm not short of people to make videos with. My inbox is full of people begging.
Yeah, I mean, but do you think that it's virtuous to take a man's virginity? Like, would you recommend that men go to a prostitute so that they can get rid of their V card? Does that sound like it's very virtuous to you?
So after they've slept with me, they're confident, they're walking away, like they'll continue like asking for tips, messaging me. The next person they sleep with, they're going to be able to give that woman a good experience. If they sleep with someone that's also new to sex, they're both probably going to be walking away from that experience no better than what they was, and both shit at it.
What? So you're
I agree with that, but go ahead.
You're just building confidence in these kids.
For sure. Basically, a community worker.
Yeah, I mean, you're really a saint when we get right down to it.
I mean,
indeed. You were, willingly taking their virginity away so that you could build confidence in them, so that they could go out then and face the world having dicked down a prostitute. You think do you think that they might have regret later? Do you think they might be like, oh man,
I've not had one person.
Probably have not given up my virginity to an actual prostitute who then filmed it and showed it to other men. Like, do you think that was maybe like kind of low-key,
the thing is, like,
an awful thing to do?
For sure, but my name is very much out there. It's not hidden what I do. They fully know when they sleep with me, it is to get posted.
Yeah, aren't we also talking about consenting adults? Like, they agreed, they consented to sleep with her.
So what if they consented?
To be on the
People
video.
can consent to all kinds of horrible things. Doesn't make it a good thing to do it. You can consent to take drugs, for instance. It doesn't mean it's a good thing to take drugs. You can consent to all sorts of horrific,
we're talking about adults who are making their own
awful
decisions,
things.
though. Right?
What's that?
We're talking about adults who are making their own decisions, who are consenting.
Yeah, I know what we're talking about is adults making their own decisions. I just got done giving you my argument against that, which is that who cares? It doesn't matter, because adults make horrible decisions all the time.
Well, consent to me is very important.
Doesn't matter if they consent to it. Doesn't mean it's a good thing just because they consent to it.
But that's what their choice is. Some people like pink hair, some people like blue hair. It's down to a choice. Yeah. If they want to sleep with me, sleep with a prostitute, if you want to word it that way, that is their choice, and they can withdraw consent at any point. And it's made very clear to them.
I mean, you do agree that it's prostitution, right?
I mean, I don't know why people think it's like a bad word.
About that.
I do OnlyFans. I'm an OnlyFans creator. If we want to call it prostitution, we can call it that. I don't care.
Is it?
I mean, I wouldn't say it is, but I'm not bothered. I'm not fazed by the title.
Having sex with men for money is prostitution.
I don't really get obsessed with what we call it.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. If a man dipped down this many women, he would be called a predator and likely be in prison for SA. There is nothing to be proud here. This is what mental illness actually looks like. Get help.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
not true. I mean,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
a-
this would be it is
No,
true.
what do you
So
mean?
for
Like,
instance,
if
Dad,
an
why don't you
adult
think
man,
about this?
if an
Here,
adult
let me-
man
let
is
me
actually
demonstrate it.
sleeping with
Calm down,
consenting
calm
adult
down, one at
women,
a
how
time.
is he going to
Wanna
be
calm
considered
down,
a
lady,
predator
calm
and a
down,
sexual
lady.
assault?
Relax, lady, calm down. We're having a nice
Good,
conversation.
sir.
Relax.
Exactly. So you should let me
You'll-
also speak,
You'll
right?
be able. Yeah, no, but
Yeah.
we were speaking. So not you. You weren't speaking. Me and her were speaking. So
I'll
No,
get you
I was
in.
actually responding
Here,
to
I'll
someone
get you
on
in.
the chat.
Stop
Just let
speaking
just let them
so
have
that
a back
we
and forth.
finish
I
our
promise I'll get you in.
conversation.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm not bothered.
So
If you
in
want to
any
call it
case-
prostitution, that's fine. I call it as an OF creator, but I'm not phased of what you want to call it. You saying prostitution is you're trying to insult me with it. I don't think it's a bad word. I don't care if that's what you want to call me. I'm fine
Okay.
with what I do.
Okay, so I just want you to understand the scope of this. That if a man set himself up in a hotel room
Yeah.
where he was filming himself sleeping with virgins and getting paid lots and lots of money for it, don't you think society would have a way different outlook on that?
That's not my problem. If society has got an issue with it,
Yeah, I
if
know,
the
but that's
guy-
not my question. I didn't ask you if it was your problem. I asked if you think society would have a way different outlook on
They
it.
probably would, yes. But I also received
Yeah.
a lot of hate. But there's also not. I was 24 at the time when I was filming the content. But there's not a massive age difference. And the biggest point is they're choosing. If the women, 18-year-olds plus, was choosing to sleep with a guy for experience and fun, and that's what they classed as fun, then no, society shouldn't have an issue with it.
Yeah, so essentially, as we dive into this, you understand that society would have a much larger issues with this. They would not be writing articles about that guy. They would not be celebrating him. They would not say how great it is that he made $250,000, pulling the virginity from 30 women, filming it, and then putting it out there so that he could make a bunch of money. Wouldn't they consider him to basically be both a prostitute, gigolo, and pimp at the same time? Wouldn't society basically be very upset with this guy for doing that?
I think, well, society was mad at me myself. Like, I went on Sky News, did multiple interviews on me saying it was disgusting, they didn't approve of it. The MP of Australia came forward, did an interview. But like I said, that's not my problem. The main thing is it's legal, they're consenting. If people have an issue with it, I really couldn't give a shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think that if that led to laws which would reform that so that other women couldn't do that, would you be against those laws?
If the law changes, I'll then change my rules. Until then, no.
Yeah, but that's not my question. My question is, would you be against those laws?
No, but we've chosen it to be 18. I don't see why we need to be treating 18 as a child. It would
So
then
you wouldn't be against the laws if people wanted to reform this so that no other women could ever do that inside of Australia.
What? So
you would not oppose
women
that.
can't sleep with 18-year-olds.
No, that's not the law. If you were to reform the law to say that women couldn't cam up, film themselves having sex with virgin men, and then sell it, distribute it for cash, would you oppose that law?
Yeah, I don't see the issue with that.
Okay, so then it is a moral question then. So within the purview of your morality, you're saying that well, actually, I don't know what you're saying. How is this moral from your standpoint?
You tell me
what
one
is-
thing.
Are
Why
you
is
just
it
saying it's
wrong?
because they're consenting? That's it?
So consent is the biggest thing. If they're consenting, they're of legal age. You tell me what's wrong with that.
Well, let me ask you this: If
You've just completely
if you were
dismissed
to,
the question.
if you were
but
to
go
have,
ahead.
no, I haven't. It's the same problem I would have if you were to sleep with a dead body.
Well, that's different because how would they consent
Why?
and they're dead?
Why? Well, wait a second. They don't need to consent. They're not. There's nothing there, right?
I mean, I don't know what turns you on. That would not turn me on.
That's
nor would
not
it turn-
really the question, though. That's just some type of snarky pivot. So the thing is it would be the same moral issue that I would have with this. Can you tell me why it would be immoral from that standpoint to sleep with a dead body on camera and then distribute it as long as you consent?
Do you see any dead people here trying to answer your questions? No,
Yeah,
it
it
is
doesn't
very
matter.
different.
Just answer the question. Stop pivoting. and
I'm
answer the
not. I'm
question.
telling you, it's very different.
Yeah, I know it's different. It's different in context, but the moral question's still the same.
No, it is
Why
not.
is it that it would actually be problematic from your worldview to sleep with a dead body and then distribute it?
Because
For
they are
money.
not consenting. They are dead.
They don't need to consent. They're not. There's
Well,
nothing
you go
there to
fuck
consent
dead people
to.
then
They're
and
not
post it online and
alive.
see who wants to watch that.
Real Trump
Okay, well, let's
donated
assume for a second that they gave their body to-
$122 college guys. Holy crap. She's been banged more than a taxi cab door. She's been pumped more than the Terminator's shotgun. I bet your thighs don't even know each other. Awful godless degenerate.
I'm incredibly tight, so
let's assume for a second that they wrote pre-consent down on their deathbed that they wanted to do this. Why would that be problematic from your worldview, or do you think people should be able to then sleep with a dead body and distribute it?
My content I make, it's enjoyable, it's fun, it gets me wet. Fucking a dead person would not turn me on, so I would not do that.
Yeah, I know. I'm not asking you what you would or wouldn't do. I'm asking you whether or not it's immoral from your position.
Yes.
Why? All the consent has been the consent has been done. Why is this now immoral?
Well, you come back and ask me that question when you can fuck a dead person. That class is legal.
Why?
Until then, I'm not going to answer your questions. Why would it need to be legal
for you to answer the question? That makes no sense.
I am answering your question.
Oh, okay, got it. So then, if murder was legal tomorrow, would you murder people?
No, it's not my cup of tea.
No, you wouldn't. So then the thing is somehow you're able to answer the question even though it's not real, right?
Listen, there is a reason why selling your body for the lust of men has been viewed as shameful for all of human history. Porn is the real pandemic of our time. Moral decay is out of control.
That's your opinion.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It's not just an opinion, because it seems that your value here is consent. And yet, when I dive into other things which can be consented to, you seem to have some moral opposition to those things.
Because you're
I want to know why.
Because you're giving me scenario-based. What I'm telling you, consent, where I value consent, it is currently allowed. It's allowed, it's normal. You're asking me if it'd be normal to fuck a dead person or murder someone. That is very different to sleeping with an 18-year-old. That we also allowed to go to the army, they drive, they drink, like it's very different.
Okay, is eating an apple and eating an orange different?
Yes.
But they're both eating fruit, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. So that then we can make analogies between two things which are different in order to figure out if you hold consistency between the actions of saying eating an apple is bad, but eating an orange is good. That wouldn't make any sense, right? That would be stupid.
Yes, but you're using it for
sense.
a dead person and a live person. That is very fucking different.
Yeah, I know. Eating an apple is very different than eating an orange, right? But you would say that if you're allowed to eat an apple, you should be allowed to eat an orange. That's why we have analogies, so that we can make comparisons between two things, which are not similar, but they do stack up logically together. So the question becomes, one more time, and I'd like to ask you, if consent is the highest value, and somebody has consented to have their body you could have sex with a body after they're dead, and then distribute that for monetary gain, what would be your actual moral problem with that?
How is eating fruit and having sex
Stop talking and let her answer the question.
It's ridiculous.
It's pathetic.
Stop talking, let her answer the question, stop pivoting. You don't have to jump in. You're not Captain Save a Literal Hoe. Let her answer the question.
If it was legal and someone else wanted to do it, it's not something I would do, but that's up to them.
Yeah, I know, but so you have no moral opposition to it?
I don't know if you're hearing me correctly.
Yeah, no, I think I did. It didn't sound like, it sounded like you said you don't actually have any moral problem with it.
I think he's choosing
multiple
not to
times
understand you.
I have said I would not do that. I do not agree with that.
Know.
But if that is the law, you won't see me marching up to like the president to get it changed. I don't give a shit. I focus on myself, and that is it.
Yeah, no, I understand all of this. So I'm just going to steel man it so that you know that I understand exactly what you're saying. You yourself would never sleep with a dead body. Got it. Understand? You think it's gross. You think it's horrible. You think it's awful. Now to my question, which is, though, if there was consent, which seems to be the thing that you pin your entire argument on here for why this is okay to do, then what's the actual problem? What's the moral problem, or is it even immoral?
Well, I'm not saying there is a problem then. If you're saying, imagine if it was legal, I'm not going to go out my way to change it. It's nothing to do with me. I can choose not to have an opinion on that. I do not have an opinion on that.
So then I am correct when I say that from your worldview, it is not immoral to have sex with a dead body if it were legal and distribute that for money.
So let me just make this clear. Multiple times, I do not think that is correct. I would not sleep with a dead person.
Yeah, but why
nor do
not?
I think other people should.
Yeah, but why not,
I make content that turns me on, and that would turn my subscribers on.
Yeah,
I don't know what type of people you socialize with, but that would not turn my my subscribers.
Yeah, I know that you're talking about you personally. I get that you personally.
Well, stop
would not
talking
do
to me
this.
then.
That has
If you're
nothing
not
to
addressing
do-
the question directly to me,
No, that's
let other
not the
people
question,
answer.
though. The question isn't how do you feel about it. The question is if it's immoral or not immoral. So I'm literally not going to let you escape it. You're going to have to answer at some point.
Oh, really? You're going to force me?
Would it be immoral? Would it be immoral?
I honestly,
if the
I'm not
law
wasting
changed-
any more time on this
Hang
question.
on, just let me finish, please. Listen to what the actual question is. Would it be immoral if the law changed for people to sleep with a dead body and then distribute it, regardless of what you personally would do? Would you say that other people should be able to do that if the law changed to say that they could?
If the law says it's legal and they want to do it, go ahead. I do not
Okay.
give a shit.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know. I appreciate it.
Very long-winded way that was.
Good
That's what
good
she
talk.
said just
Well,
now.
I mean, it's really hard because oftentimes people who I discuss these issues with, they're like Jell-O. You can't actually get a position out of them unless you ask it 15 different ways to finally get an answer, because they don't want the optical nightmare of what you just did in admitting that if people want to be able to sleep with dead bodies and then distribute that for money, that you don't have a moral problem with it.
Well, I think when you listen to this back, I asked you multiple questions, which you avoided them all.
Okay, ask me whatever you want. I won't avoid a one.
So what is wrong? If they're consenting, they're enjoying it, they're reaching out to me, why should I not sleep with 18-year-olds?
Because it's non-virtuous. It's terrible for society. Not only are all the consequences of it bad, but what you're doing is you're giving a promotion which adds to the deconstruction of the backbone of the American society, which is the nuclear family. It's bad. In every conceivable metric that I can think of, it's bad. It promotes out of wedlock sex, which leads to more degenerate outcomes in society. It leads to higher amounts of STDs inside of the general public. It leads to all sorts of horrific outcomes. I can't even tell you how many.
That's really
That would be my
incorrect
moral
answer.
argument against it. Was there anything else? Any other questions you had?
No, you can just listen back and answer them later.
Okay.
Good talk. This is good. All right, I got some more notes here. Sticking here with Bonnie. Bonnie, you said that, or do you need a little cool off period?
No,
You're
I'm
good to
good.
go. You're good to go. All right, cool. You said that people assume if you do OnlyFans, you don't want to settle down in the future or date.
For sure.
Do you want to elaborate a bit on that?
I think when people know you do OnlyFans, I think they just assume you have no intentions to settling down and that you don't want to have that family life in the future, basically.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you do want? Would you like to have like a husband, kids in the future?
In the future, yes.
Yeah. Do you think that it's going to, given some of the conduct, could it be harder to do some of that?
Yeah, 100%. But like the biggest thing, I used to work in recruitment. I used to work really long hours, sort of near enough like 8 till 8 some days, Monday to Friday. I was given 20 days annual leave, and I thought that was going to be the rest of my life. I always thought, like when I was with my ex, it was always, imagine when we get time off together, imagine when we go on that one holiday a year. Now that when I do meet someone, we can get into investments together, I'll have flexibility and freedom.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Holy fuck, what is going on today? Holy fuck. Excuse me, guys. Okay, you said that you were dumped the day before you went to spring break because you were planning on sleeping with college boys.
Yeah.
What's the story there?
Well, just before I went to spring break, I was dating someone sort of January, February time, fully aware of like my intentions of what spring break was going to be. We sort of spent, like I said, a few months together, and then day before he called it. So yeah.
That's it?
Well, obviously the reason he called it is because he knew my intentions was to sleep with college boys.
And wait, was this the guy that you were dating for 9 years?
No. So
Different guy?
Yes. So
Okay.
obviously with my ex, split up with him, and then I was dating someone January, February.
I see. Okay. Going to baby.
Hey, hang on. I just have one
No, go
last
ahead.
thing to add on this, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
So I'm just wondering, since you said in the future you would like to have a family and children, can I ask you, do you think that the fact that you have newspaper articles written about you doing this and
Yeah.
all of this film out there for you, that one day little Betty Sue, who comes up to you, who's your child, says, well, gee, Mom, I really don't like this. And my brother over there keeps getting beat up at school, and they keep calling his mom a prostitute, and he really can't say anything about it because,
I
she
am.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Do you think that that's going to be a good life for him?
I think so. Before, when I had children, they would have had to go in childcare full time. I would not have been able to give them my time. Whereas now, when I have children, I'm going to be that financially stable that I'll be able to give them. I'll be able to pick them up from school, drop them off. I'll be able to give them time, beautiful memories, and be able to really treasure that time with them when they're young. I won't even be working by the time I have children. And then
yeah,
by
I
the
get
time,
it, but you're going to send them to school, right?
Of course.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're sending them to school, that's where they're going to get.
So if I have
bullied and beat
children in
up,
say
right?
5-10 years time, by the time they're sort of old enough to be like aware of what it is, that's another 10 years from that. By then there'll be someone else trending, and yes, my news will sort of, I probably guess, will come up. But by then, the life they've had, I'll be able to educate them on the reason they've had such a beautiful life and upbringing is because this is what I did as a job in the past.
Because you slept with strangers and then broadcasted on the internet, you don't think that the outcome when they go to public school and they're getting bullied and beat up and they can't actually defend it, they can't actually defend you, right? Like little Johnny's not going to be able to actually defend what Mom did. He's going to actually have to be like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right, guys. I mean, yeah, she fucked 100 dudes in a weekend. Yeah, she did that, right? How do you think life's going to be for him on the football team? How's life going to be for Johnny on the football team when his buddies start ribbing him and asking for Mom's number because one of them has $100 in the sock, right?
Oh, that's
fine.
That's
what Johnny's life's going to be, isn't it?
Wait, say that one more time.
That's fine, I'll fuck their dads. But by then, I'm not going to be in the industry. I'm not going to be filming. I would have been out the industry for sort of 10, 15 years.
Yeah, I know you won't be in the industry anymore. But that has nothing to do with what'll happen to them, right? Even if you're not in the industry, this is the gilded age of the internet. Somebody gets mad at little Johnny and just does a Google search on Johnny's mom and then finds all of these articles, all of this, perhaps goes over to him with his cell phone and says, dude, look at your mom getting gangbanged, you sick bastard, right? Like that's going to happen to little Johnny, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the angles were good, so at least I'll look good. But,
yeah, is that what you're going to tell him? Are you going to tell him, oh, hey, the angles were good when I was getting
Michael,
dog
to a
pile
shock
5
to you,
deep?
my name's not actually Bonnie Blue. So if they search my name, my real name, which is what they'll know, nothing is going to come up.
Do you think that they're not going to be able to figure this out? Like, do you think that that kids are dumb in the internet age, or they're not going to be able to
I'll
put
give
two
you
and
this
two
time on
together?
the show to find out my real name, and then we'll see how long
Probably
that kid's
shouldn't
going to
have.
Yeah,
Probably
don't
shouldn't
do
have
that.
challenged.
Don't dox yourself.
That's fine.
Don't do that. That's a really bad idea. Nobody's trying to dox you, and I don't want anything bad to happen as an outcome of that. But what I'm saying to you is that it does seem like you're setting your kids up, if you have them in the future, for massive failure, right?
Not really, not at all.
Not at all, because
No.
you can give them stuff.
I can give them companies, investments. I can set them up for life.
Yeah. Do you think you'll have all that money in the next 10 years?
I've already got 4 properties in the UK. I continue to buy another 5 this year. So yes, I'm not stupid.
That's what happens to lottery winners too, though. Lottery winners will get a windfall of hundreds of millions of dollars, and interestingly enough, within the first 5 years, most of them go broke. Within the first 10, almost all of them go broke.
The fact
There's
I've
very
already
few.
invested money, and I've got a financial advisor, I've got an accountant, and my plans
they have
only
all
look
that
better.
too. Yep.
Oh, do they? A lottery winner instantly has a financial advisor and accountant the same day? No.
No. Yeah.
My
I don't
plan
even
has been
understand
planned
what that
out.
means. Me saying
Others-
that people who have lottery windfalls have those things, and they still go broke the same way. Most people who cannot continue to generate wealth are not able to, especially if they only do it off of a single skill. They're not able to cycle the wealth back to work for
All
them.
your
That in and of
questions
itself is a
are
massive
what if
skill.
in the future I'm broke? What if this? I am not. And if I am in the future, I'll then answer the question. But until then, your questions and opinion is irrelevant.
Yeah, but that's not really the question. The question
But
isn't
it
what
is.
happens
You're saying,
if you're
what if I'm broke? What if I
No,
don't
the
have
question
the money?
isn't what happens if you're
Can I
broke.
chime in?
The
Yes,
question that
please
I'm
do.
alluding to is, what do you tell little Johnny if you can't give him the material lifestyle and he has to live with the fact that you were a prostitute. That's
but
what
I
the
will
question
give
is.
them that. So your still questions are saying, what if I can't? I'm telling you I can.
Okay.
You wanted to come in? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, she literally just saying, hey, I'm investing the money that I'm earning buying real estate, which has like
what?
increasing potential, right?
Yeah, so what?
She's buying stocks.
Stop
she's
saying so what.
investing-
Your question was,
Yeah.
what if I lose the money?
You
I'm
making
clearly
her
not.
equivalent to
Yeah,
a
to the
lottery
heart
winner
of
who
the
loses
question, it doesn't matter ultimately if she does or she doesn't.
Hey, we
what
let you
matters
speak. Can I
ultimately is
speak?
in the
Can I finish?
scenario of
If you don't mind.
don't have X thing, if
Wait,
the material is.
Andrew, can you let her just finish her point? Go
Well,
ahead.
I'm just trying to clarify. She's straw man. Go ahead.
Wait, before you
How's
do,
that
Dr.
strong?
hold
Venabilly
on. Let this come
donated
in, then I'll let you go.
$200. Sheila is a harpy. You are a walking petri dish. Any man should absolutely be repulsed by her behavior. BTW all OF and Corn are mentally ill and you will screw up her kids. Money only help their drug habit.
All right, thank you, Doc, man. I appreciate the message. Go ahead with your point. Go ahead.
Yeah, you made her equivalent to a lottery winner. A lot of lottery winners, yeah, they might have, sources and opportunities to reach to the wealth managements and advisors and invest, but they choose not to. Instead, they choose to spend their wealth that they earn from the lottery. She's saying to you, hey, I'm doing it differently. I'm actually reaching out to the proper sources to invest in real estate, in stock, and etc. So she's actually building her wealth, just like majority of people do in America, where once they earn money, they actually invest in order to build wealth.
Sure. So to the heart of what the question is supposed to get at, it's not whether or not she's building wealth or even whether or not she can maintain it up to. The question is just to ask if whatever this material gain is you think is going to be available to offset what you think the shame of this will be to the children, what is the option then? And so to that question, the answer is, well, that's not an option because there will be enough material gain. That's the answer. That's why I said so what, because ultimately it really doesn't matter. I'm not even asking if she loses the wealth or doesn't keep the wealth, but just if there is a offset, and the offset is materialism of some kind that's going to offset shame, what if that does not work? What if that is not a thing you can give for whatever reason? That's the question.
I'm assuming by that time you have kids, you'll be able to provide like private tutoring and
100%, they can have whatever they want. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't know
think
you guys
she'll
were
probably have a
fortune
problem with
tellers.
that.
So that's why I'm wondering though if there was an offset for the materialism, if that's what's supposed to offset the shame. If that wasn't there, then all they have is the shame, right?
No, they'll have my time. As a child, the most things they want is to have their parents' time. But no, they can't give them the time because they've got to go to a job and they've got to drop them off at childcare. I won't need to do that. I'll be able to be there and be able to support them myself.
I mean, but most parents are going to do the exact same thing that you do, which is even if they're stay-at-home moms, they're going to send their kids off to school, right?
I don't
So
want to
most of
have
the
to
time,
rely on
you have a
someone
stay-at-home
else.
mom, they're not even there with the kid.
Because they're then reliant on their husband and their husband then can't be there. When I have children, both me and my future partner will be able to be there for that child. So you're doing, oh yeah, the wife will stay at home with the children and the husband fucks off to work. In my scenario, both parents will be there and both parents will be
Yeah,
present.
but that really has nothing to do with what I said, which is that you're going to
Because you've just said the woman would be a stay-at-home. Who's going to fund a stay-at-home
Yeah,
mom?
but listen to the rest of what I said. The rest of what I said is you're going to export your kid off to school. So even if you're a stay-at-home mom, most of their time's still not going to be spent with you.
Oh, because when you have someone that's a 1-year-old, they go to school, do they? I thought they stayed at home.
Oh, they do. Are your kids going to perpetually stay one?
No, but for the first 4 years, they're not going to be at
you were the one
school.
person on planet Earth with a time capsule and your kids were going to perpetually be 1 year old.
Because you just said they're going to be going straight off to school. They won't for the first 4 years, and they're going to be
I didn't say
with
they were
me.
going to go straight off to school, but they're going to go to school. That's what you said.
Yeah, and when
So
they
they're
go
gonna
to school, they start. When I went to school, you started at 8:30, you finished at 2:30. What office job starts at? So by the time you drop your kid off, you'd get to the office for 9:30. You then need to pick your kid up. So what you need to be finishing about 2 o'clock. Any jobs I know that would not offer those hours.
Well, okay, but even if that's true, you're still sending the kid off elsewhere other than you. So most of their time is not actually going to be spent with you. They get home from school at, let's say, 3:30, right? What, you got a couple hours with them before they go to sleep. They're back to school the next day. Most of their time is going to be spent with their peers, right? That's where most of their time is going to be spent.
What about their
And
school
if
holidays?
Your
What about
peers
the
are
evenings
ridiculing
before
you
school?
all day because your mom was a prostitute. Don't you think that could be potentially very problematic.
You're so funny. No, it's honestly, I'm tired of answering your pathetic questions. Now, you're so one-sided that you can't even listen to someone else.
I'm listening to everything you say. I can even repeat it back to you.
What job is going to offer you to be able to start about 9:30 and finish at 2 o'clock so you can drop your child off at school and pick them up?
I mean, most office jobs offer that.
Really?
That's
Monday to
pretty
Friday?
much
That's
regular
not
office
even
hours,
part-time
I would say.
hours. I used
Yeah,
to
that's
work in
pretty regular for
recruitment.
office hours. In fact, now that I think about it, that's pretty regular for most first shift. If you start at 8 o'clock, you're going to work an 8-hour shift. Usually you're out by the time school is done.
So who's going to drop my kid off at school?
Probably you on your way to work, like most people do. Or they'll take the school bus in the morning or something like this.
I prefer
right?
to be able
Or-
to drop them off, pick them up, because if they're starting school at 5, I don't know about you, but I would not be happy for a 5-year-old to go and catch
Well,
the
they're
bus by
not
themselves.
starting school at 5, right?
They can start preschool at 5.
Oh, you mean age-wise, not time-wise. Okay, got it. Yeah. So they're starting at 5 years old, you mean?
Yeah, so I do
Yeah,
not want a
so-
5-year-old catching a bus to school. So my point is, I would have to be dropping them off. They would not be getting public transport.
Yeah, sure. You drop them off, and then you
Well,
come
your
pick
point
them up,
was
like
they'd get the
almost
school bus.
every parent in America.
I'm not American, as
mean?
you can clearly tell by my voice.
Yeah, I'm sure in Australia it's the same thing. Unless Australians don't have cars and regular day jobs, I would say that they're essentially, why the school schedule operates that way, in fact, is because it accommodates the most amount of parents to pick up and drop off their kids.
I used to work
That's
in
why
recruitment,
that
and it was
school schedule
incredibly
exists that way.
difficult to find jobs with a good salary, with good benefits, that allowed people to start about 9:30 and be able to pick their kid up about 2:30.
That's most first shift jobs that I can think of, in fact. I can't actually think of that many that have wildly different hours than that. Do you think that most jobs start at 10 in the morning or 11? Because they don't. They mostly start around 8 o'clock. They mostly get out by 3:30.
Final thoughts from the
Right.
both of you on this. Go ahead.
No, the office jobs I used to work, I started at 8:30 and I finished between 5 and 6. I could
Andrew?
not pick my kid up at then.
You worked from 8 every morning until 6?
Till 5 till 6, yeah. Between 5 and 6.
Okay, got it. Well, I'm just saying, yeah, I mean, as far as a combination, or you have what's called latchkey, where they have to hang out for an hour or an hour and a half until mom gets home. But either way, it's really not a huge deal as far as the latchkey kids go. But yeah, most jobs accommodate a school schedule now that
And
I
then,
think about it.
okay, so then what would happen when it's annual leave?
Minus_100 donated $200. Andy, stop. You're gonna make the Australian prostitute turn purple and give her PTSD.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So
Final point from each of you, please. Go ahead.
they have a lot of school holidays. Your annual leave you get given by work does not allow you to be there for that time.
For school holidays, I think most of the school holidays are mostly what's going to be your work holidays too, right?
They get a lot more than, so when I used to work in recruitment, it was 20 days annual leave. They get a lot more than 20 days off school.
Yeah, I mean, so what? It's like all you're doing is kind of appealing to the outlier of, well, there will be some days where you won't be able to spend it with the kids. I get that. But still, ultimately, I'm not sure how this materialist outcome is going to offset the shame, which is the purpose of the question. Even when we're talking about you exporting your kid off to school, it seems that all you're really doing is giving yourself, like, what, maybe an extra additional 10 days a year or something?
Your opinion is
Is that like
shame,
what your
other people's
offset is
is not.
here?
What's up?
It's your opinion that it's shame. Other people don't agree with you. It might shock you,
No, I
but not
think they
everyone
do
agrees with
agree
you.
with me. I think that.
Well, I think my bank balance would say
I think that if we
otherwise.
were to do a high school survey and say, would you prefer that your mom fucked 100 men over a small period of time, like a week, or not? What do you think they'd say?
It's very different because I've been able to find a life for them.
Yeah, no. What do you think they'd say?
Yeah, they probably
they were
wouldn't
surveyed.
agree. But there's
They'd
a
probably
lot
say
more
no,
to it
right?
than a simple question.
Yeah. Now, what if you asked him? Now, your mom, she gets stuffed by 100 dudes over a weekend, right? And she filmed it for everybody to see. But she's going to make sure that you have the newest fucking Nintendo. Do you think they'd say then, "Oh, well, great! I'm going to have the newest Nintendo and stuff." So that offsets it. Do you think they would answer yes then?
You're relating it back to materialistic things. I'm relating it back
Yeah,
to
that's
time
your
and
offset.
memories.
Your offset for this is
not.
materialism. That's
Mine's
what you said.
time. It's time. It's very different.
Time.
You can't buy time.
Gotta move it on.
You can buy time, but
Gotta move it on.
I mean, that's what you're
Did
trying
Did this
to
come
do,
through?
right?
Did
Buy
this
time.
already come through?
Real
Pam?
Trump
Did this come
donated
through?
$199.
Did this already come through? Yes or no?
Yeah.
122 college guys.
Did it?
Holy crap.
Did we
She's
already
been
have-
Yes.
banned more.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Real Trump. I must have been up when that came through. All right. Quick question for the other girls who do OF. Do you guys do BG content or solo?
She wanted
Oh,
to
yeah.
add something in regards to that.
Yeah, I wanted to add something because I'm like getting very dizzy here, but I was just trying to let them talk because maybe this is what the podcast is about. But I feel personally, I feel that she's talking about quality of life, and this handsome guy here is just jealous that beautiful and nice women do exist, and I'm just like I don't
What?
understand.
Wait, hold on.
What?
So you're saying
Yeah.
that because Andrew is currently having a debate with her, that he's jealous because
Okay,
she's
maybe
you
not
purport-
jealous, but like
because she's a good-looking woman. Is that what your argument
beautiful
is?
and intelligent, and like she has plans for future, and I agree with everything that she does. Maybe things
Wait,
may
just
go
to be
wrong
clear,
in
you
the
agree with?
I
just-
agree with what she's doing.
I think
you
it's
know?
different, like agree, and
Right.
it does not mean like you're saying you'd go for
Yeah,
120 people, but you
you
can
know.
No,
sort
but
of.
she agrees with it.
No, I agree with what she's doing
Do you,
with
do you
her
think?
life.
Do you think anybody should sleep with 120 people in a 3-week
It can
period?
be a means to an end.
Hmm?
It could be a means to an end. To whatever goal.
Would you
that
want
you're
your
trying
daughter to do
achieve.
that?
This is like how to say. You need to.
Answer the question. Would you want your daughter to do that?
If that's the way that she wants to go for it after having all the options presented to her, sure, it's not my choice.
You wouldn't advise her. Well, yeah, but she's your daughter, so you wouldn't advise her.
I could advise against her, but whether she does it or not is still her choice. I can't like.
Sure, yeah,
tie
she
her down
could
and
still
force her
do
not
it.
to- Yeah.
but
It's like when I explained this like job to my
So
parents.
would you advise against her doing it?
Yes, I would advise her.
Wha-
I would advise against because there are
Why?
better options out there
What? Okay.
and safer options
So you-
for her.
So why would you advise against it?
Because if she hasn't, gone through college, has done a job, and done everything and thinks that there are better options for her, why jump straight into this when she could, put herself in danger and she could go down the wrong path?
Can I say
Yeah,
something?
I mean, those are all
Yeah.
great objections, I must
Yeah.
admit.
Can I-
Also, I will say this, that
sorry.
that is the first time ever in the history of my entire life a woman has called me handsome, so thank you for that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay.
Looking.
Sorry to interrupt, but then I think instead of judging her right away, if I have a daughter, I will ask why she do it, because like we haven't come to why, because like we need to empathize like why they got into this situation of doing this and making this option, like this choice in life, right? Like why?
I think it's normally for money, though, don't you think?
I think, like you think
That's
that
like
way.
I would say that's one of the main reasons that a lot of people get into work like that because of money. and
But
they
it
want-
could also be like trauma and things like that.
could be, but
Yeah.
they'd probably be doing it for the money,
But what's wrong with doing it for
not
money?
because of the trauma. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it.
Right.
I'm just saying that's the reason that I feel like a lot of people in the industry get into that kind of work.
Yeah.